I'm very proud to tell you guys this video is going to be brought to you by G Fuel, and right now they have a brand new Kaiju number 8 energy formula. You guys know, if you've been keeping up with my videos on my other channel, I love Kaiju number 8. I am extremely proud to say that I've tried this one out. This energy formula of the Kiwi Berry Blitz is absolutely insane, and you get that energy formula itself. There's just enough caffeine in the energy formula itself to get your day started. Another huge plus is the fact that there's zero crash when you use it, so you ain't got to worry about being Konohamaru and not being able to perform because you ain't got the energy. Also, you get all the vitamins and minerals and antioxidants that are going to get your day going, and best of all, there's zero sugar, which is a huge plus to me. You guys know that running multiple YouTube channels, it's not an easy thing to do. And so I do time to time need an energy drink to pick me up. And so I go with G Fuel because it's a lot healthier than some of the energy drinks that are out there. Use my promo code KAGE in order to get your discount. When you click on my affiliate link down in the description box, you can purchase the Kaiju number 8 box as well as any other anime themed G Fuel products that strike your fancy. Doing so really helps support the channel. Yo, what's going on everybody? It's your boy Naruto Explained here, bringing you guys another Boruto 2 Blue Vortex discussion, and today I wanted to talk to you guys about the ending of chapter 11 of the manga, where Boruto, he has swooped in at the last minute to save Sarada from Hidari, who was about to turn her into a tree. And I want to explain why I think we as a community should be looking forward to this upcoming tag team on Hidari in the next chapter. As a quick reminder, the chapter review did come out yesterday and the editor tried out some new stuff on this review. Dropping that plug in there real quick, since the data on the video says YouTube only sent notifications out to 3% of the 21% of you guys who are subbed to the channel and who have all notifications turned on. So with the quick promo out of the way, let's get into today's topic. So as we all know, Boruto in the last chapter, he came in at the last second after having made a mad dash to save a helpless Himawari who Jura, while toying around with her, beat her into a state of unconsciousness, and then he promptly teleported to Sarada's location in order to save her. This of course led to Boruto staring down Hidari with a rather pissed off look on his face as he was prepared to square up with Boruto in the next chapter. I know there are some of you guys who are upset about Sarada ending up getting saved by Boruto, but as I said in the chapter review, Boruto stepping in here was something that Boruto's character needed for the redemption of his character, which goes back to the shame that came from running in battle as Code struck down Sasuke, which the samurai elements that Boruto and Sasuke's relationship had makes you better appreciate that scene in the flashback from chapter 5 and why it is that Boruto needed to save Sarada in this moment when she was about to be made into a tree, which I'll leave that video where I break down the symbolism of Boruto's broken sword and the failure to save Sasuke in the description box down below for anyone who wants to watch it for your convenience. By saving Sarada, the person who Sasuke entrusted Boruto watching over in his place, and saving her from the exact same fate, Boruto has closed the door on that invisible weight that he was carrying on his shoulders prior to this. It's the same reason why Boruto needed to save Himawari, because in part 1 of the story, he was unable to save his parents, and in the time skip, he couldn't save his sensei. Now in part 2, Boruto has saved one family member in the form of his younger sister, and he saved the daughter of his sensei. The only person narratively who would have the most payoff when it comes to rescuing them was Boruto, while Kawaki saving Himawari would have had a big payoff. The maximum payoff in this situation comes in the form of Boruto. That now brings us to the battle that appears to be looming. From the moment that Boruto squared off with Hidari, and then we learned that Hidari was targeting Sarada, we said here on the channel that while we would prefer to have Sarada fight Hidari alone, it really felt as if the narrative was truly setting up Boruto to fight alongside Sarada against Hidari, and we now appear to be having that happen. The two people from this generation who have the strongest connection to Sasuke, the very man whose chakra is running through Hidari's body alongside Ko's chakra and the Ten Tails chakra, they are now poised to take on Hidari. Right when he's expressing how his desire to consume Sarada is something that he just can't explain, and he wishes to know who Sarada is and who she is to him and why he needs to devour her so badly. That timing, it was not a mistake here by the narrative, and given that we saw Sarada asking Hidari who he was and Konohamaru was asking what the relationship that he has to Sasuke, and we see Hidari using Sasuke's signature ninjutsu in these fights. It only makes sense that these two are the ones who end up mixing it up with them. They're the two people who Sasuke personally trained, with Boruto learning every jutsu that Sasuke could teach him, including the hidden jutsu of the Uchiha clan like their shuriken jutsu. And Sarada, the person who we know through various medias from the anime, manga, light novels, that Sasuke post Momoshiki arc took the time extensively to train her, from teaching her the Chidori to teaching her lightning release jutsu to working with her on her fire release techniques to training her extensively to properly use her 3-tomo Sharingan we saw her use in the Boro fight. Hidari's fighting style is a blend of Sasuke and Code, and Boruto and Sarada, they're the ones who know Sasuke's style the best, and Boruto is the one who knows Code's fighting style the best due to having mixed it up with him on multiple occasions, one time before getting his limiters removed and the second time after getting his limiters removed. At some point, Boruto is going to reveal the truth about Hidari to Sarada. He was not shown doing that in the past for a reason, and that's going to have huge potential to be a rather interesting effect on both Sarada and Hidari. Sarada learning this jutsu is a Jubi clone of her father and potentially is the key to freeing her father from being a tree in danger of being cut down by Tobirama's reincarnation, who has a lumberjack business, and Hidari in that he learns the truth about why he's being drawn to Sarada. However, there are some potential issues that come from the presence of Boruto here on the battlefield, which we'll get into in a second. The first is the possibility that Sarada getting off guarded in a way that she was, there's a chance that she's out of commission for the fight itself, since she wasn't really able to move after getting that Chidori shockwave that hit her body in the split second that she looked out the corner of her eye to see Sumire when she was speaking to her, saying that she might be in danger. Hidari, after cleaning up all the fodder on the battlefield, from class rep to fodder Konohamaru to no-name random Chunin who was burned up with the Great Fireball Jutsu, he was preparing to trap Sarada in a wood release that would restrict her movements, drain away her chakra, and turn her into a tree like her father, which in that moment, that's when Boruto showed up. We could be in a scenario where this is used to write Sarada out of the fight, where Boruto does something like teleport her away, then teleport back to fight Hidari, which if that happens, I'm going to be highly annoyed. I'm not even going to hide that. I'm not mad that Boruto stepped in here. Thematically, it fit with what's going on with this character, and it lines up with Sarada still having some of the combat weaknesses and bad habits that she had in part 1 of the story, which we'll touch on later because I do think that is being overlooked by a decent number of fans. However, I think anything other than these two working together, that is a mistake unless it is being used as a bridge to have Boruto fighting alongside someone, and the only other characters who would warrant that type of a payoff are his new sensei Kashin Koji and Kawaki or Himawari, which the latter just got the daylight beaten out of her, so I doubt it'll be her. And Kawaki is currently flying in the direction of Jura, and it's questionable whether or not this is the right time to have them working together, which that brings me to the other red flag in this scenario. There are claw marks all around this battlefield, including on Hidari's body, and Boruto has no way of removing them because, as a reminder, Karma cannot absorb the claw marks because they have physically existing blood that's used to make them. Karma cannot absorb physically existing properties, even if those properties use chakra. This is important to take note of because Boruto has no means to get rid of the claw marks that we currently know of, and Jura knows that Boruto ran off of Himawari and teleported. There is a rather strong chance that Jura ends up teleporting out of one of the claw marks on the battlefield or out of Hidari's battle, and this fight is one that escalates. Assuming, of course, someone doesn't drop off a copy of Makeout Tactics for Jura to start reading, because at this point the guy's curiosity will end up getting the better of him over the rather descriptive prose that Jiraiya wrote when it comes to whatever happens with the main male character's eyes when they start roaming over the curvy body of his female love interest. Jura might be too preoccupied if it comes down to this, but more likely than not, there's a good chance that he just goes in pursuit of Himawari because he was shown being annoyed at Boruto. The only other thing that keeps Jura away from this battle is if Kawaki and Delta show up and we see an emotional Kawaki is forced to do exactly what he said to Delta when she was asking him, what do you plan on doing to someone who already whooped your ass once before that would make things turn out any differently than the last time? Jura, he showed no interest in Kawaki before, telling him that he'd go hunt him down later. Basically said, hey dude, you're trash, you're fodder. I don't have time for you. And I have to believe that he still isn't satisfied with Himawari. He wants more out of her. So it's possible the guy just one-taps Kawaki yet again and then goes off to confront Boruto while Kawaki's left sleeping yet again, and Delta is once again screaming for a sleeping beauty to wake up. I don't particularly love the possibility of a 2-1 versus battle with Boruto here, but Jura is that wild card that the story is forcing us to keep our eyes on for a reason. This could be a huge subversion of expectations coming. I don't rule that out. However, here's the thing. He doesn't seem to be the type to just let something like Boruto's interference go unreprimanded. However, assuming we do have Boruto fight alone against Hidari and we end up seeing Sarada battle alongside Boruto, this is the ideal scenario narratively, not just for the symbolism, but it would also work because it fits with what we've been seeing about the past with Boruto. He is being used as a measuring stick for the growth of other characters in the main cast as well as the supporting cast. All throughout part 2 of the story, we've seen Boruto mixing up with various people, and it gives us the chance to start scaling the various characters by measuring them directly against Boruto and against the people that Boruto fought. If you start seeing Boruto fight alongside Sarada against the same enemy, that's very invaluable information that comes to your disposal to use both for where she is with her 3-tomo as well as where she is with her Mangekyo Sharingan whenever she does decide to use it. That's invaluable data that you get to use there. Though if we don't see her use a Mangekyo, the story is doing two things, one of which it does make sense, but the other one is setting itself up for a pretty drastic failure. If she isn't using Mangekyo, then we go right back to the issue of using it sparingly to not drain the light from the eyes, which the drainage is implied to speed up when you start spamming the Susanoo like her father did as a blumbling idiot. And given that Sarada still has a habit of cutting her Sharingan on and off in a fight to conserve chakra for stamina purposes, it does make me wonder how effective her Mangekyo would be even if it was used. And then the second thing is that it starts setting the story up for failure because fans are impatient with wanting to see what her power is. I get not using against the Claw Grimes. I defended that when it happened. I thought that was the right idea. That was a waste. And I also get not using it in this first skirmish with Hidari because after the Chidori situation, she looked at everything and appeared to be under the assumption things were de-escalating because she was talking to Hidari, yet it isn't until the sneak attack where she gets tagged when she looks away that it becomes clear to her like, oh snap, this is actually escalated. But if you get a round 2 here and Boruto is helping her fight, and you don't see it, you run the risk of fan expectations for the powers. They're just so high that nothing short of her summoning Hagoromo with the left eye, with a Tenseigan in one eye, a Jogan in the other eye, and the Kokugan in the middle of his eye, and a Renni Sharingan on his left hand, and a Rinnegan on his right hand. And then the other eye manifests the Infinity Gauntlet with all the Infinity Stones, and the gauntlet also has the lantern rings on each finger. Anything short of that's not going to satisfy fans. So I do think where we are right now, the story, it's got to be very careful to tread water extremely close. To such a degree, I'm going to compare this to a Rubicon moment, which for those of you guys who are not history buffs or you've not heard that expression, this refers to the moment where Julius Caesar crossed the Rubicon River, and that was an open declaration of war on the Roman Republic. It was a point of no return. So hence you see people say, such as myself, this is a Rubicon moment. That's what we're talking about. While I believe timing is everything when it comes to reveals of powers, I'm usually one to start preaching patience, especially with monthly manga. But I also understand, based on some of the conversations I had with you guys down in the comment section, I've been reading manga longer than a lot of you guys are watching anime. In particular, I've been reading monthly manga and quarterly manga where you get manga chapters once every 3 to 4.5, sometimes 5 months, because because it can release at any point in the quarter, not just every 3 months. So I'm used to taking a more patient stance. I do think this might be a moment where there isn't going to be any going back unless the power of her eyes get revealed to be some super hack support power that isn't truly suited for combat. Again, I'm not really mad at her being saved by Boruto in this chapter, which this review on the left breaks all of that down here, so watch it if you haven't. And over here on the right, I've got my new Nezuko video on the Anime Explained channel for those of you guys who are Demon Slayer fans, which I strongly recommend checking out if you're a fan of Nezuko.